Well, hey, Kai. I think I got it right. Um, Welcome to my shop. Um, I'm going to try my best to explain what I know about, you know, this little thing. Your 367 is a little different. I looked at the pictures, but I hadn't really looked at them because I'm pretty sure I got a book on that thing somewhere in the filing cabinet. I'm going to try to find that before we get started on that and make sure I'm telling you right. I can tell you this, just the overview of what we're fixing to get into. As far as I know, that 367, as far as space grinding, works exactly like the 357. There's a certain way you put a straight edge against this thing, and so you can line up the little thing in the back. It tells you what hook angle. And if I remember right, the top of that platform you've got on yours is where it's going, 10, 20, 30, all around the outside edges of that thing. I'm pretty sure that's for top grinding. Now, I don't know. I'll show you what I think you need to do. Your side grinding fixture, it's built into that thing, works exactly like this one. That long arm that the cone slides in and out on should have a dial or a knob with a little dial on the side of it that, increments. And I'll show you how I set this one up, and it should be exactly the same thing for that one. That's about it. I'm going to try to do this evening. We're going to start. I got a bunch of saw blades in here that I've re-tipped, and I've got to get them out tonight because they've been sitting around here for 2 weeks. So we're going to have these big automatics fired up because these are some big blades. I'm going to try to talk over the top of them. If that don't work, man, I'll, wait till we get those done and then do it. I might be out here at about midnight, but hey, I'm dedicated to this stuff, so let's do it. And don't pick on me about my dirty shop. I ain't cleaned this thing in about a year and a half, and I was always told by my grandfather that, you walk into somebody's shop and it's fit, shine, clean. There ain't a whole bunch that goes on there. You might want to think about going somewhere else, right? If you got time to clean, you ain't working. Anyway, let's get on to this. Okay, kind of might have messed up there a little bit. That dial on that platform is probably for top grinding and side grinding. I'll try to get into that if I can remember of how them stop fingers need to be set up on that machine. I'll look back after I, done this first little video, and it seems like you got a little place on there where you can change that stop finger from one side of the machine to the other. So if that's the case, then as long as you line that stop finger up with the middle of the center of that grinder. So if I'll have to explain it when we get in the video, but if you got your blade sitting on there flat and you're going to top grind it or side grind it, you can, swing it around. I got a 10-degree hook, 20-degree hook, 30-degree hook, and it should line that blade up, unlike the little 357 where you got to manually do that. That was one of the big perks about those 367s. They get they're a little bit more accurate than the 357 if you don't know anything about saw blades. So anyway, sorry. I might have misspoke there, but I think I got it. All right, let me go find these books and see if I got what I need. And if I don't, we'll just go for it and you'll figure it out. Trust me. Okay, so as you can hear, this ain't gonna work out well. Let us get done with this stuff and I'll get on to this stuff. Okay, hang on. Sorry. Okay, let's get back to this. Some things you need to know. Let me get all this off of here. All right. Before we get started on this, some adjustments you need to know. These 4 screws, right here, those are what holds tension on these. Let me go over to this other one. On this, right? To keep it from backing up or backlash, whatever you want to call it, right? Make sure you got them adjusted right where it's easy turn, but grab the head, move it back and forth and make sure they're, it's not moving. Just enough to keep it tight. If you over tighten those, let me get rid of this dust collector. This block right here, you can't buy that anymore for these machines. So you have to have it machined, and in order to get it machined, you got to take this off, take the rod to the machine shop because it's an Acme thread, so they can make a block with the right thread, right? So it's very important. This one, that rubber's been gone for a while, but it's the same thing, right? So these are important. Now, there's another couple back here. Down these little holes are some set screws. Oop, my finger. Right here and right here. And that's an adjustable way. There's a little metal plate that sits in there against the way of this thing traveling. You want to adjust them out. Again, to where it's tight, but not so tight it's wearing the threads out on that machine. You tighten them down just enough and, pull back and forth as long as it's not moving. Okay? That's number one. Be very careful about that stuff. But if it's too loose, man, that when you're grinding, it'll start moving away. I mean, it won't be but, a few thousandths, but that's enough to cause an issue. So make sure you got all that stuff right where it needs to be. And now let's go to setting this up. Okay, one more thing I missed. Down in these holes and the ones that's back here. Well, not the ones back here, but these. They have a little piece of nylon down in there. So the metal part is not touching the top of this bar, because that's the last thing you want, right? Scratching it up. So I take these out periodically, every couple of years or so. If yours is an old one, you might want to go ahead and do this. Just take some old nylon weed eater string that's just big enough to fit down in that hole, and you don't need but, 1/8 of an inch, something like that. Just something to just tighten down against that rod, right? Yeah, I forgot that when I was explaining that. But those have to be changed from time to time. Not that often, but, it's good to check that stuff. There you go. Hope that one helped you out. But do check that. Make sure that's right, because if not, it's going to cost you some money. I think this one's stripped out once. That one is stripped out once. I've had both of these for about 18 years, 20, something like that. I've only had to replace them nylon things like once, but that's something to watch out for. If your machine, it should be the same as this. This bolt right here is very important. You keep that hole covered up, because all the dust from the grinding will get down in here. Let me go to this one. See, I got this one plugged too, but that's a place for a post to sit. You can bring a stop finger up and do end mills. But if that hole's not plugged, what happens is when you're grinding, this hole gets plugged up, right? And you, dust and stuff gets down in there. And what it does is land on the end of this rod. And then when you're moving it back and forth, man, that dust is just eating them threads out. So very important, make sure that hole is plugged. Also make sure you got that stop in there, right? I mean, let's see, if I can pull this out, it looks like that. A lot of times, man, if you don't have that stop and it's missing, just keep fishing around, man, find you a bolt without the threads and just cut the head off that bolt so it'll fit down in that hole, right? Because that's what keeps this thing on 0. All right, at this point, I think we're ready to do something. Well, crap, maybe we ain't done. This is, I think, 3/16 inch pin, 3/16 inch pin that goes and locks this head on the center. I'm sorry, man, there's so much of this stuff I can keep going over. If you don't have that pin, a 3/16 drill bit, I think is what that is. Leave the twisted end out and just use a solid part of that shank, right? And stick in that hole, because that's 0, right? And then once you get it on 0, make sure you got this thing sitting right on 0, this pointer. If you don't have that, just, get you a piece of sheet metal, grind it to a point, and find it. I don't have close enough. The pictures you sent, they're good. I just don't have that kind of information. So, all right. With that being said, those are the main things you need to make sure that you got, right? And make sure all that stuff's tightened up. All right, I'm gonna throw that strobe saw back up on here because that's the closest thing I got to what you're supposed to do or what you're doing. And we'll go over this, all right? I'm getting tickled at myself because I haven't had to do this in years. But once you get this pin situated, there is this, right? Should be on the bottom of your machine. That needs to be sitting on 0. It's really inconsequential to anything you're going to do, but once this is in, this pin, 0, that thing out. That way, if you do have to turn this head at any point, this little dial down here will actually work, okay? All right, at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and upload this and put it on private and try to send you a link. And let's see if this stuff works. And then I'll go on into it. I'll wait for you to comment, whatever, and then we'll start setting it up for grinding. But you got a crap ton of information right there I didn't have when I got into this. It's hard to find people that know about these old grinders, but hey, there is some of the just simple, well, where you need to start at first, right? So let me do that and let's see how this works. Because if you can't view it, I got to find another way.